in many of our earlier videos, we have used anchor tag, which is for the links. But what we have done in the previous videos is we haven't formatted the link or say decorate the link or even style the link. So it is as simple as anchor tag IMDb. IMDb is a text that shows. Now the reason we get a large text is because of this. I'm going to remove it for now. And then let's get, okay. So this is the URL for Robert Downey Jr. So this is IMDb URL for Robert Downey Jr. So what we will do is just copy that in the href value. Now let's see how it looks. IMDb. Now let me increase the font size a bit. Let me put the font family, then font size. So this is how you decorate a link. Now, when you look at this link, there are a few properties and stages of the link involved. Now, what I'll do is pretty much go for a different link. Because this link is visited. I'll tell you why I'm going for a different link. Just look at the color. The color has changed to blue. The color that we saw earlier, was kind of a purple. Now, these links, these anchor tags, they have like 4 stages. And we have to understand those 4 stages. I'm going to give properties for those 4 stages. Now, the first stage is the link itself. And the second stage is when it is visited, meaning when we saw the IMDb link earlier, it was in purple color because I have already visited the page. So in that case, the color will be purple by default. Now, let's say if I have visited it, make it red. It won't change now because I haven't visited it yet. A hover. So when you say this extra colon tag says stages of it. So anchor tag, I mean all the anchor tags here, if it is a link, I mean before it is clicked in the very natural state, make it look like this. When it is visited, color is red. When it's not visited, color can be orange or there's olive wrap. And finally, we have active. Hover is when you do a mouse over. This mouse over, right? I'll show you in some time. Active is the moment you click it, the exact second or half a second or a microsecond, that is what it is. I'm going to give a dark blue. I simply give dark colors so that we could see the difference. Now, by default, all links are blue in color. So that's why we see this in blue. Let me change this to black. It becomes black now. Now, let's see what happens when you hover. Hover is pretty much mouse over. me zoom it a bit. So hover is mouse over. So when I do a mouse over, the color is this color. So whatever I gave for hover. Okay. What happens when I click on it? When I click on it, the color becomes blue. Just look at it. See, I clicked on it. Now I'm going to click on it again. Earlier I just clicked, but I didn't let the click happen. Now I clicked it. So I'm going back to the page. Let me refresh it. Now if you see, it's in red because it is a visited link. Now I've already visited that link. But anyway, these things will work. This is pretty much overwritten by visited. But these things will work. Green, when you click on it, blue, all that will work. Now, when setting these stages, you have to keep in mind that this hover must come after link and visited. And this active should come after hover. So that's an order. That's the order you have to follow when you mention these stages. Now let's say probably your website style doesn't need an underline. And if you remember, we looked at the Dodge car site. All the links, they didn't have any underline. I mean, some links. This is a link, right? It didn't have any underline. Now for that, what we need to do is we can say when the text decoration can be none, meaning no text decoration. See, now there's no text decoration, no underline, all that. So it doesn't behaves like a link. Basically, it removes all the text decoration that is done by default for a link. That's what happened here. Now, for the visited, it's the same red, and the mouse over, click, all that is same. But if you want to do that to the visited too, give the text decoration as none. So pretty much it just took the underline, not the color. So text decoration none, it then took the values from when the underline from the link. I believe it works only when you have in both. So now it's not there, but in mouse over you could give a text decoration is underline. See, even in active you could give. Let's see if text decoration line through works. Line through works too. So you could give text decoration this to the links, and this is how you decorate or make the links look better. Now you could also give a background color. What we will do is we'll try to remove the text decoration everywhere. What I'll do is I'll just give a background color to it. Background color, let me give an aqua. This is how it looks. Now, in most cases, you might not look at links, right? I mean, like not the old school links with underline. So this is how we look at buttons these days. This is obviously a link, but when you look at it, it looks like a button. So we could club these two. And say background color. Now visited, visited, I mean giving visited a different color than the usual, I mean it doesn't feel good at all, because you might visit a website, you might see a link, but rest of the life if you want to see the link in a different color doesn't make sense, because obviously you're going to click most of the links. So it's better to have these two with the same properties. Now text align, I'm going to give center, bring this to the center, but for that I have to give some size to it or padding. So what it does is, inside the link there's a padding of this side and that side, but this is actually the original size of it. I have expanded or zoomed it for a better visibility. See, this now looks like a proper button now. But you have to remember that this anchor tag, this is a inline element, it's not a block element. So whenever it is an inline element and you give padding values, you have to make sure to make it inline block. There's a reason for that. I mean, we saw in the previous video, when you give padding values like this, there is a chance that these will overlap to the previous element or the next element. So we just try to avoid that. So that's what I have done here. Now let's look at the next these stages. I'm gonna remove the text decoration. The background color alone, let me change this to something similar to these blues that we see. Light blue, light green should be fine. What happens is, see, the moment I gave a display inline block, this just came below. Show it again. So it's trying to, I mean, it actually it's trying to behave erratically, but when I give inline block is when it comes to the right position, because you can't give padding values to span. I mean, you could give, I mean, nothing stops you, but it will behave erratically. Now let's come to what happens to the hover and active. Now this is a style that we see here, but when you hover, you see the background color changes. Again, when you click at it, the active is also the same. So that's fine. Now, when it comes to link, I mean, if it is a pure link and if it is not a button, obviously you will try to have the link's color, text colors, I mean, and the behavior should be same everywhere throughout the site. Now, just keep this in mind whenever we do all this code. This external CSS is for multiple HTML files, meaning there might be not just list.html, there will be like 10, 15, 100 HTML files more. And all this will use style.cs, and you can also use multiple CSS file. One list.html could also use multiple CSS file. We saw adding Google's CSS too, right? So that's how it is. Now just keeping that in mind, obviously a link tag will have the same style, but when you use something like a button like this, not all the pages will have similar buttons. You might try to use it differently. Now in that case, classes is what you will use. So let me try this again. Again, a bad name for classes. Tom Hardy's page. copy the URL here. The class over here. This is how it looks. Just do you see anything strange about this? I mean, so far, whatever elements we used to give, it is one after the other. But since this is an anchor element, which is an inline element, it comes one after the other. Wouldn't it look good if we have like more actors, like fill the whole page? And that's how menus are, right? When you think of menu, colorful menus, all that, I mean, these are all links, these are all anchor tags. That's how it is being made. Now, we'll try to apply the same kind of style, but I'll just use this. Instead of anchor tag, I'm saying this class, but in this different stages. See if this works. This sure works. And this class, and since it's an anchor tag, this works. But you can't give it to block class, visited, all that, because this is for div alone, right? But this class we have written for anchor tags. Anchor tags to behave like what? A button. So that's what we did. Now you could also do this anchor. Okay. Don't get confused, because all it says is within the anchor tag, whichever has link class to this. So let's say you have two classes. One is the link class, another one is the linked class. We could still, without even the a dot, we could still use it how we used earlier, like dot link class. I'm going to change the color here. Let's take chocolate. Let this be light green. Now I have like two classes now and two separate colors. Okay. So all this a dot means is in all the anchor tags, whichever class has linked class, use this. And whichever class has linked class, use this. This will come in handy. I mean, I have a separate video coming where I would explain the ways you can organize these class selectors and how you keep pseudo selectors, all that. So I'll help you in that. But now just keep this in mind that this is pretty much says with all the anchor tags, use all the anchor tags with the linked class is what it means. And this means all the anchor tags with linked class, apply this style. Now we'll see a thing about cursor. I hope you all know what cursors are. Now, when you do a mouse over, let's just look at this arrow, changes to a crosshair, because that's what the style I gave for this first link. For the second link, I gave grabbing. There's much more cursors. This is called copy this. Pointer. This is the pointer. This is the copy. But if you look at the list is huge. There's so many that you could use.